Oi, gente! Estamos aqui mais uma vez, trazendo mais uma entrevista muito, muito legal, uma pessoa muito inspiradora. Estou aqui com a Sofia, que vocês ainda não devem conhecer. Ela é estagiária aqui do Esportudo, tá com a gente já há alguns meses. Então, seja muito bem-vinda, Sofia. E hoje a gente vai conhecer a Tatiana Calderón, que agora tá pilotando pela Fórmula 2. Então, hoje a gente vai bater um papo com ela sobre a temporada, sobre os planos futuros e sobre a Fórmula 1. Tati, how are you?
Hey, so nice to see you both, to be interviewed by two girls. It's always special. So yeah, doing better. I had a little accident in my last F2 race, but I'm hoping to be back training normally very soon. So thanks for having me on your show.
Sophie, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you, Badini?
I'm fine too. I'm very pleased. As I said lots of times for Tati before we started, I'm very, very happy and very pleased to have her here. So Tati, we know that you started in motorsport at a very early age, and we would like to know how this interest in motorsport and in cars and in speed began. Was it something from the outside, or did you out of nothing just started to loving motorsport?
Yeah, honestly, it started very, very natural because nobody in my family had ever raced. But I remember when I was very little, 5, 6 years old, already my dad would put me in his legs to only drive the car with the steering wheel. And my sister, she's 7 years older than me, and she had a motorbike. And then I sort of started to do a couple of laps on the motorbike. And then, honestly, when I was 9 years old, she took me to a rental go-kart track near our house. And we bought a 5-minute ticket. And I fall in love, honestly, with the speed, with the adrenaline. And so we were going there every day after school. And that's how it really became our passion. Very natural, nobody forced it. And I have to say, I tried a lot of sports before I found what I wanted to do with life. And so early, I think I'm very fortunate to have known what I wanted to do in life since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I guess it must have been uncommon, right? Because you said you didn't have anyone in the family that was involved in motorsport. And then you as a girl, that I think this is starting to grow as women in motorsport as a thing that we see more like now. And I think that it wasn't very normal when you were starting, right?
No, absolutely not. It was just my sister and me. I think I never saw initially an issue, just because in school, I would play soccer with mostly boys because there also was no interest from girls to start playing soccer. And I have a younger brother, 2 years younger than me. So every time, my parents, if they were giving us presents as cars, it would be 2 cars for each of us, because otherwise it was a big fight. So I always I never cared because they would treat us the same. I think it was from education. But later on, when I was karting, I started to feel that difference.
And when your interest turned into a career aspiration?
So I actually, deep inside, I knew since 9 years old, I was okay, Juan Pablo Montoya is in Formula 1. I want to be in Formula 1 straight away. Obviously, it took more time to convince the whole atmosphere, your parents, everybody, that it was serious. A girl from Colombia wanting to be in Formula 1 was it seems surreal to think about it now. But I think it really took, it got serious when I won a very prestigious championship in the United States called Stars of Karting when I was 15. And that was when my parents really thought, okay, I think we will have to to give her a real shot at being professional and not going to university. It was a very difficult situation for them and sort of a risk to take. And I'm very happy they took that risk and they allowed me to completely focus on racing. But I think it took that championship to win internationally for them to believe that I could have a shot at being professional.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's really good to hear that they helped you and they were into that adventure and challenge. Because I think for those who don't really see the day-to-day, I don't know, path to Formula One or to Formula Two, to these big motorsport championships, they don't know how much it takes. I think one time I was telling a friend about some driver life, and I was telling he started with I don't know how many years, very very early age, and he was like, "Really? Don't they go and drive?" And I was like, "Man, no." It's the total opposite of that. It's extremely a really hard path to that, and I think we here in South America, we even have the more challenging part of a financial backup, because everything we have in terms of money, it's less. We are already in disadvantage, and being a woman, being everything that you are, it's very, I think it's impressive for all women. But being in South America and being in another country that's not like North America and Europe, it's even more difficult. And thinking about that early age changes in your life, what I would like to ask, it's about when you moved abroad from Colombia. So we know it's very difficult. How are the challenges of that situation?
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. You know, to start off with, like if you are, like South America, Latin America, you have it harder, just like you said, just because the exchange rate in terms of going to compete in Europe, in the US with dollars, changing, your whole environment, the culture, you have to move abroad to do that, to follow your passion, to follow your dream, because there's not, and even in Brazil, you have more professional championships. In Colombia, you cannot be professional in motorsports because, it's just, we have one racetrack. So it was really difficult for me the first couple of years, of course, when I moved to Europe, the stations, the winter, I didn't know how to cook. I remember just mixing, for the wash machine, you mix all the colors. I ruined most of my clothing. Besides that, you end up like, people here are very different. And even in Spain, we are more similar to, I moved to Spain initially, more similar in terms of culture. But when you go to places like England, like Germany, everyone's very cold. We need sort of a warm, happy place to perform. And people underestimate how much like performance comes when you're super happy with your life, with where you live, when you have good and healthy relationships. And it was very difficult because my whole family was in Colombia. I came here alone. I didn't know anybody. And it's a shock, culturally very different. So the first year, I would say, was very, very tough. And obviously the results, the level in Europe is extremely high until you get to know all the tracks and the car. And you're again in that position of people maybe are a bit less friendly than what you're used to. It can be very, very difficult mentally. So that was definitely one of the biggest challenges, just to move and adapt to so many changes at once.
Yes, it's very difficult. I moved to another city just to study, and I know how hard it is. And imagine move a country, it's like, oh my God. And you are a woman who are inserted in a male-dominated sports. How was it for you to deal with the situation? Have you ever feel judged by the others?
Yes, I think it's I got used to it because I have been almost almost the only one in all the series. So since very early age, I think I carried some of the responsibility and the judgment that people initially have on you. So I would be lying if I said that I was treated equally. And that's why also I think it's important to talk about this kind of thing, because that's the only way that we can start to change the future. And always it's been like to earn the respect of the people that you work with. So the people that are supposed to be on your team, it's been difficult. And then on top of that, of your competitors, because regardless of course, as a racing driver, you never want to be beaten by anybody, but especially not by a woman. So to earn that respect on track has been very difficult, to earn the opportunities and know that you may have just one chance because you will be judged differently. And every time you have to prove yourself more than anybody else. That's the way I have felt for many years. It's never easy, and you come into an environment that when I started, it was not prepared to to have women in their cars. A lot of the cars are not designed with the measurements of a female driver. The way we have to train is different than men, but they want to treat you in a way, in the same way, and we are different. Our minds are different, our bodies are different. So it's been very challenging to understand what we need to perform, particularly in a sport where, like, you can be a great driver, but a lot of factors that you don't control can influence a lot on the results and on the performance. So it comes with a lot of frustration sometimes. You can have done a great job, but you're out of the points, yet you feel like you've given everything. So it's been hard to be a woman, but also nice for me to have that challenge, to find everything in me to try and prove people that I can be very competitive, and enjoy that process, and hopefully make the life of the next generation a little bit easier or less hard than what I had to go through in the last couple of years.
What were the factors that took you to make that change, to choose to go to Formula 2?
It's been a crazy year, and believe me, I never thought I would be competing in Formula 2 again. Honestly, I had a great time in IndyCar. I did 7 races for AJ Foyt Racing. And unfortunately, the main sponsor of the team, they couldn't continue to pay. And that meant that my car was out of the season. So I couldn't find the sponsorship to continue racing there. And then I think all the planets aligned, or my angels came to rescue me. So all of a sudden, thanks to Karol G, the Colombian singer, she started to support me to go back to racing. And we found with Charus, I don't know, a crazy opportunity to make the last 4 rounds of Formula 2. So I was obviously super happy to be racing. Firstly, I thought I was going to be out for 6 months. And then on top of that, we have this girl who supports another girl story that I loved, the support that I have gotten from Carol and her whole team of females as well. It's been incredible, and I think it shows sometimes, that there was no company that wanted to sort of give me that opportunity, and it took another woman to say, you know what, I'm gonna rescue you, I'm gonna push for you. And those kind of things, is what we need to, there's certainly an issue. Why aren't women getting the sponsorship when there are another 30 guys that have gotten it? So we need to start to change that narrative, and that's the message that we wanted to also show the world. So I don't know how I ended up in Formula 2, but I'm super happy to have the opportunity to continue racing at a very high level. and we'll see what the future brings. But I'm very grateful for that opportunity and to be sponsored by someone as powerful and as a great role model as a person, not only her music, by Karol G.
What are the next steps and expectations for 2023?
And now I believe anything is possible, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So obviously, it will depend a lot on the sponsorship that we can get. Sadly, that's the way motorsports is at the moment. So of course, I would love to stay in single seaters because I think I still have a lot to offer and a lot to show. But it will depend on what opportunities come along the way. All I can do is focus on myself, on my performance, and hope that it will be enough to earn one of those seats in 2023.
We'll be here cheating for you, and
Yes.
that you can be sure. Now talking about a more general situation. There has been some time that we don't have a woman in Formula One. I think it has been 30 years since Giovanna. And what I would like to know is your opinion about that. What do you think that in this moment is holding women? That what are the challenges to getting there, to get a seat in Formula One?
I think it's about having real opportunities to show, because a lot of people, they come and say that we're not gonna be ready physically or mentally or blah 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 because you're a woman, you won't be able to do that or that. But until you don't try, you don't know. So I feel like a lot of people that are maybe at the top of Formula One, they have been there for too many years, and they have a certain way of thinking. And to go to Formula One, you need a super license, and the super license points you get when you drive for the best teams in both Formula 3 and Formula 2. And if you cannot get those results, you don't earn those super license points. And that's the first issue that we get into. So yeah, everybody wants you to do well in the lower series, yet they don't give you the right opportunities or the same opportunity as some of the other guys. And obviously we need more women starting in karting and going through the ranks to have a better chance at it. But I honestly think it's down to the opportunity for the powerful people to give us a real shot, and that's what we are really missing, nothing else.
Yeah, and exactly that, exactly what you said, a real shot. I think most of the women that came before, that went to Formula One, they didn't have real chances of succeeding. I think it was more a thing of put her in the car and expect her to fail. I think that you don't have the argument to say that women can't, because you don't know. There hasn't been good and good chances to do something. Tati, this is the end of our interview. Before we end it all, I would like to ask you to give a message, to give some words to women and kids, and for whoever is needing some kind of inspiration from a woman that's been through a lot and that has achieved so many things as you did. So I would really like some words for women.
Oh, I think, looking back, who would have thought that this crazy girl who had a dream of becoming or reaching Formula One would be there today. So I think, never stop dreaming. Never let anybody tell you that you can't do something, because you put your own limit, and it's all in here. So as long as you know what you want and you find your passion, you do all you can to get better, and I am sure things will turn out great for you. So never give up.
just to finish, we are very happy to have you here. So we are very, very, very thankful for you.
Thank you so much, you are inspiration. And yes, thank you so much.
No, thank you for sharing my story, for having me on your show. And I hope that one day I will be able to go to Brazil and meet you in person.
We hope to. Então, gente, essa foi a nossa entrevista com a Tati Calderón. Não se esqueçam de seguir a gente em todos os canais, no Instagram, no Twitter, no YouTube. E voltem sempre, a gente vai ter mais entrevistas com mulheres também tão incríveis quanto a Tati. Então, fiquem ligados aí com a gente, foi um prazer. Um beijo a todos.